What's going on there, folks? Good evening. It is the Earthmaster here on the live stream with an update video. It is January 4th, 2022 is the date, about 6:20 p.m. California time, and the latest quake on the globe, a 5.1 earthquake in the Vanuatu area. Seen some major deep movement well over here to the west in the Indonesia area, where we've seen a 6.0 earthquake at 556 kilometers deep. So definitely some significant deep movement adjustment throughout the Indonesia area. Also, if you look up here on the top of the globe, we've seen a 5.1 earthquake here within the last hour or so, way up around the North American and the Eurasian plate here. 5.1. We don't see too much activity way up there in that region north of the Russia area. Let's go ahead and check out some specifics of the earthquake activity occurring around the globe right now. First off, this 5.1 way up around the Laptev Sea. I believe that's the correct pronunciation. Around the ridge here, the Gackle Ridge. It's a pretty lengthy plate boundary up here. Of course, you got the North American plate and the Eurasian plate over here to the west. 5.1, 10 kilometer depth for that earthquake. Like I mentioned, I haven't seen a whole lot of movement here in this area since I've been watching the earthquake activity. I did pull up a little map, though, of the region, and they do get some movement here on occasion. It looks like the last 5.5 earthquake up there was back in 2012, and they have had some other larger size quakes here, including a 6.5 and also a 6.7 magnitude earthquake within the same region of the earthquake activity we've seen today. Of course, that 6.7 back in 1964, 6.5 back in 1988. Looks like we could be coming up here possibly for another 6 here very soon within this region. I'm looking at that little date range there, but 5.5 way up here around the Laptev Sea and the Gackle Ridge. It's a mid-ocean ridge, a divergent tectonic plate boundary, of course, between the North American plate and the Eurasian plate. It is a pretty slow spreading ridge on the Earth. It actually says the ridge is the slowest known spreading ridge on the Earth, with a rate of less than 1 centimeter a year. That's pretty slow. Of course, there's some volcanic activity within that region. It has been confirmed. Some earthquakes have been detected from the mantle below the crust, which is very unusual for a mid-ocean ridge. This confirms that the mantle and the crust of the Gackle Ridge, like some segments of the southwest Indian Ridge, are very cold. So just a little bit of background info up there on that ridge, which extends way up north here. And looking at the rest of the activity today, in the Indonesia area, of course, 6.0 earthquake, 556 kilometers, right smack dab in the Banda Sea area, right around the, well, it looks like kind of closer to the North Banda Basin. Either way, a large earthquake in that region, and 556 kilometer depth there shows that we got some major adjustment going on down there. Looking at this map historically, deeper earthquake activity into the dark circles, mid-depth in the lighter gray circles, and of course more shallow earthquakes in the white circles. So looking at the area of the epicenter shows quite a bit of deep movement within this region, more than 300 kilometers or so, and also some larger activity taking place here within this region, 6.0 to 7.0 magnitudes, and I believe we can get a little bit greater around the region for sure. Very seismically active within that zone of the Banda Sea. There is the, let's see, we had a 5.1 down here in the Vanuatu area. The latest quake, of course, on the Earthquake 3D globe showed that earthquake in a little trail fashion here. Seeing a little swarm of movement here. Pretty deep activity as well. This one here near Tonga, 265 kilometers. But this deep activity here definitely lighten up the charts here with earthquake activity over the last 24 hours. We've seen movement up here to the northwest here, northwest part of the Pacific Ring of Fire, kind of quiet down. I know it is showing some movement here But this is from when was this? A little bit earlier in the day, but nothing renewed in that area of the Pacific Plate. Over here to the west, looking at movement around the China area. A couple fours kicking up. Not too much more movement here in the Mediterranean Sea region, folks, or the Middle East. Looking pretty quiet here. It's been that way for about 2 or 3 days now. Had this one come in last night, a 6.1. That northern mid-Atlantic ridge earthquake. No renewed movement north or south on the map in the Atlantic. In fact, South America has gone pretty quiet again. Looking at activity in the Puerto Rico area, most of this movement from earlier today. Did see some activity kick up around the Puerto Rico Trench. Some deeper movement, and even a 100-kilometer deep 3.0 right on the west side of the Puerto Rico area. Eastern part of the country remains relatively quiet. We kind of chatted about that 2.8 earthquake in Ohio earlier. No renewed movement there. Of course, this 2.5 and above, we better check the all magnitudes because they can pop up. I don't see any aftershock sequences there. Anything like that. Looks like it was underneath Lake Erie. 5-kilometer depth in the Ohio area. Oklahoma and Texas seems to be calming down for the moment right now. Only a couple sporadic earthquakes in that area of the country. Pacific Northwest quiet as well. One little microquake up here around Mossy Rock, Washington, 14.7 kilometers. Could be, well, it's pretty deep. A little deep earthquake activity there. While we're looking at it, let's check out the tremor map here in the Pacific Northwest. Looking at, let's double refresh this and make sure this is the latest. Yep, 7 epicenters of tremor. Not a big deal, but it is kind of a big deal when it comes to location. Looking at nothing in Northern California now, nothing in Oregon, but specifically just in the Washington area. In the, well, I'd call that kind of like the mid area of the Cascadia subduction zone. Not a big number either, 7 epicenters, but just kind of in a different spot than what we have been seeing recently. Back to the earthquake activity along the California area, Nevada region. Things kind of ramping up along the eastern Sierra Nevada, with movement kicking up around the Ridgecrest area, south of Mount Whitney, and also a little swarm of activity into the volcanic tablelands, West Bishop area. Looking at some microquake activity kicking up here in this little region, right smack dab in the volcanic tablelands. Looking at the satellite imagery here. Well, doesn't show a whole lot out there, but definitely some past volcanic activity within this region. Up north, trail of movement along the Nevada area, across the Candelaria Hills into the state of California. But looking at a pretty significant swarm right here. It's been mostly confined into this region over the past couple days. Looking at the 7-day magnitude map, or the 7-day all magnitudes map here, kind of shows that heightened area. Of course, it was stretching out here within the last week or so across the Highway 3 into the Candelaria Hills, where there's a couple unnamed fault systems there. Let's see what else we got here. Up around the Antelope Valley area, some movement around the Walker area of California. Some shallow earthquake movement here in this region. And up north, not a whole lot in the Lake Tahoe region, but some activity around Pyramid Lake, Nevada. And way up here around Doyle, California, 1.3. Don't see too much movement up here around the Honey Lake Fault Zone in Northern California. Looks like we had a little earthquake around the Willows area, kind of just outside of where I live here in Northern California, around Chico. 2.2 earthquake, looks like in the this area right here has actually seen a couple earthquakes last year. I even think, I can't remember the magnitude. I think it was an upper 3 or whatnot in this region, right around the Sacramento River. It looks like it's just about a mile or so from the Sacramento River. But yeah, Not 100% certain on fault systems out here, but we do have in the region a lot of spotty oil rigs, if you will. I don't recall seeing one up here, but then again, it kind of looks like it's off this 45. Looks like it's in between a couple of these county roads and the Highway 45 area northwest of Glen. 2.2 earthquake. This one's pretty deep though, 25.8 kilometers, so can't say that's got anything to do with any oil pumping operations or anything. It's just pretty deep. Movement into the geyser regions, really active. Look at all that movement there. Looking at 56 earthquakes around the Cobb, California area. Hydrothermal plant in that region. Still got to check that out here pretty soon with Missy Mimi's. Gonna go see what all is cooking down there in that region and how they create those quakes. You know, there's a bunch of information on it, but I kind of want to see it firsthand. Some activity out here along the Templeton 2.3 at 3.9 kilometers within that area of California, and some movement in the San Jacinto fault area. Looks like the Palomar Mountain earthquake swarm has calmed down for now. Not a whole lot of activity kicking up in that region, where we've seen a significant swarm take place over the last couple weeks here, right around the Palomar Observatory. But over the last 24 hours, nothing to report in that region. Let's see what else we got here in Southern Cal. A little bit of movement along the Imperial Fault. 1.8 in the Holtville, California area. Salton Sea looks calm for now. And of course, the Big Island, I got to cover that activity. Seen a little spotty movement around the Big Island up here to the northwest with 1.9. And also way out here, southwest of the Big Island, 49 kilometers west of Hawaiian Ocean View, a 3.4. Loihi Seamount remains calm for now. Southeast flank still looking pretty active. And off the coast over here to the east, a 2.7 earthquake, 36.4 kilometers. So overall, some deeper activity showing up in the Big Island area. I'm kind of curious to see what this deeper movement and this earthquake activity way up here to the north has in store for the rest of the plates. That's some major deep movement and potentially I'm kind of curious. I'm kind of curious to see exactly where pressure transfer and whatnot is going to be headed following these two deep earthquakes here. I'm still kind of betting on the northwestern part here of the Pacific Ring of Fire for some major adjustment. It's just every single day that goes by, it's kind of out there, sticking out like a sore thumb. But then again, the West Coast, so we'll see what happens here. Right? I do not have a crystal ball. I definitely cannot predict earthquakes. We can kind of just look at areas of increased stress and movement and accumulation rates over time. And these two places right here have a good signature of an earthquake on them pretty soon. What else do we got? The beautiful state of Alaska. I need to get back up there. I'm not even joking. I went up there in the wintertime a couple years ago in December, middle of December. It was beautiful. Cold, but absolutely beautiful up there. Some microquakes kicking up through the Anchorage and the Fairbanks region. We'll check out the Earthquakes Canada map for fun right now and see if they got anything cooking up there. Looks like a little bit of activity way up here in the Yukon Territory. It looks like got a 3.2 around the Dawson area. Looks like about 3.5 kilometers below the surface. That one occurring earlier in the day today. As far as the rest of the activity, we did see some movement over the last day up around the northern end. Let me pop in the plate boundary here so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Plate boundaries. Of course, Cascadia kind of ends within this region, so we're looking at the North American Pacific Plate area with some renewed movement around the village of Queen Charlotte area. A couple small red circles there indicating the recent earthquake within the last day, it looks like. Earlier this morning, 2.1 and a 2.3 kicking off there around the BC area. Other than that, a little bit of movement out here as well. kind of quieting down over here to the east. Quebec, Ontario regions all showing a diminishing movement currently. Let's see what else we got here. Yellowstone National Park. There's that data loss. Finally got some data coming back in to the seismographs, and all looks calm and clear. Not a peep out of Yellowstone currently. Looking pretty quiet. Unusually odd and quiet. Let's see what else we got here. Checked out the tremor map and the latest earthquakes here on the globe. Kind of seeing if I covered or if I missed anything out here. South America is just kind of dead right now. 4.1, 84.8 kilometers into the Peru-Chile Trench there. By the way, this activity up here kind of spreading. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier. This plate boundary, little spreading oceanic spreading center. And they mentioned that it's the slowest on Earth when it comes to the oceanic spreading centers like this one. But maybe that's probably why we haven't seen too much activity up there in recent times. But they don't let it fool you. They do get some larger quakes up there as well. And it looks like it could be coming up around the bend here when it comes to the intervals of some mid-6s in that region. 6.1 from last night. Let's check out the solar weather activity, which I believe is almost non-existent unless we got some surprise going on. Pretty quiet. Only a 5% chance of a sea flare. Looking super duper quiet. Aurora forecast. Very minimal. Even at the higher latitudes. Sunspot activity. What do we got for the sunspots here? Let's check out this image. Looks like 29, 24, little one, maybe another one coming at us here in the coming days. But don't get your hopes up. Things kind of not all that significant when it comes to the sunspot activity. But no doubt that will change, right? Heading into the solar maximum. I'm hoping that things will change. Alrighty, guys. Have a good night. I kind of wanted to pull up this map here and see if we can check out the area north of the Russia region and the Laptev Sea area. There's some of those 6s I showed you guys. And some smaller earthquakes between a 4.5 and 5.0 magnitude quakes. So they do happen. As you follow the ridge all the way up there, kind of it gets spotty, but there's definitely clusters of quakes throughout history since about 1900 or so. All right, guys, gonna jump off here. Have a good night, good evening. We will chat you guys a little bit later. Also, by the way, about ready to send out some decals, some stickers for your car or computer, wherever you want to put them, refrigerator, your desk, doesn't matter. They're pretty durable, weather resistant, heat resistant, rain resistant decals of the Earthmaster here on the YouTube channel. If you guys want some, I am giving some away. I've gotten quite a good amount of requests so far, and we haven't sent them out yet, FYI. I haven't even got them yet. They should be arriving this week. My new batch of stickers will. So if you want some decals, let me know. Send me an email at earthmastermail@gmail.com. Let me know your address and whatnot. I did get a couple emails requesting some decals, but with no address. So I did reply back. Make sure you check your emails there for that reply, because I do need an address to send them to. And of course, we'll send them out here as soon as I get them. And it doesn't matter if it's in the States, Canada, Mexico. I've gotten requests from all over the world right now, so I will get them out to you, no matter where you're at on the planet. So what do we got here? Just got an earthquake notification of a 4.2 in the Bolivia area. Let me see what we got on the EMSC map here while we're looking at it. Pop this baby up here real quick. Yeah, down here. So a little bit of movement kicking up there in the South America region. We're just kind of talking about how quiet it is down there. This one, 123 kilometers, 123, in the Peru-Chile Trench area. So yeah, kind of watching some movement down there, kind of kicking up. All right, guys, have a good night. Don't forget, earthmastermail@gmail.com for some free decals. We'll chat you guys a little bit later.